Hey, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to find real estate investors. If you're new to my channel, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell as I release videos every single week showing you how to start, scale, and grow a property portfolio. Okay, so let's get into this now. And there is this myth around the UK that can you actually build a property portfolio using OPM, other people's money? And I'll be honest with you, when I heard this concept 7 years ago when I was at a property event in London, there was 400 people in this room and there was a guy standing on stage and he said, hey, you can build a property portfolio using other people's money. My first reaction was, it's gotta be a con. And then my second reaction was, well, maybe it's not a con, but how the hell can I do this? Because when I got into property the second time round 7 years ago, I was in a lot of pain, and maybe you can relate. I'd just lost my business. The official liquidation figure was minus £392,000. I was feeling very sorry for myself. I was crying myself to sleep. I felt like I'd let my family down. I was really in a difficult position. And I certainly didn't have any money in the bank account to go and do property. However, I kept an open mind. I invested into training, into mentorship. I met my business partner, the one and only Mr. Munoz, the Essex Colombian. And the only way that I was going to do this was via OPM, using other people's money. So I put the foundations into place. I got advanced training. I'd done my website, done my branding, really started to understand how to do deals with private funders. And then I started to tell people who I was, what I was doing. And just 4 weeks later, a good friend of mine called Will, he called me and he said, Liam, he said, I've got a friend of mine called Dave. He's just retired. He's got a bit of cash in the bank, doesn't know what to do with it. And I believe you're looking to work with private funders. Do you want to have a chat? And I said, yeah, I'd love to have a chat, Will. So I spoke to Dave the next day, and 24 hours later, I'm meeting him at his social club in Basildon. And we sit down. I then go back and meet him for the next day. And I find my first joint venture partner. Now, he only lent me £5,000 on a loan agreement. I was going to borrow the money for 1 year. I gave him a 10% fixed rate return. That was more than what he was making in the bank. You know, you've got to understand, people are losing money in the bank. A lot of people have a lot of money right now, even through this crisis that we're going through, and people want to do something with it. So it's all about creating a win-win. Now, when that happened for the first time, oh my goodness, everything changed. I remember getting in my car and I literally sped down the A130, pulled up at my drive. I was filled with adrenaline and excitement. I couldn't get my key in the door quick enough. Finally opened my front door. I literally screamed up to Holly, my partner, who's now my beautiful wife. And I just said, Holly, we've done it. Holly, life is about to change, because this is what happened. I knew in that moment that if I could do it once, I could do it 1,000 times. It really changed my mindset, really changed my confidence. And just a few weeks later, I go and get my second private funder, a lovely lady who gave me £250,000. Fast forward to today, I've now personally raised over £9 million in joint venture funding. People call me the money man in property. I've done over £28 million worth of property deals. I've literally trained thousands and thousands of people on how to go and do this. So you're in the right place with the right person. And just to set the scene, if I can do it, a dyslexic Essex boy from Essex, then I promise you now, you can go and do it. So I'm now going to share with you the top places where you can go and find funders to build your property portfolio. So number one, you're going to want to write this down if you can, friends and family members. Friends and family members. People that already know you, like you and trust you, and you'll be surprised at how much money they have in the bank. They might have it in stocks, shares, cryptos, ISAs, money in a briefcase under the bed. But when you set yourself up, you would be doing them a disservice if you did not get in front of them. And when it comes to raising money, people think that there's some magic black book or there's some secret formula. It's all about building relationships. It's about presenting yourself in the right way, letting people know how you can offer a great service, and then making sure that you create a win-win. So it works for them and it also works for you. And hey, some of my family members are now some of my great investors. My wife's dad, Richard, is one of my private funders. My mum and my mum's husband is one of my private funders. I've got a number of really good mates which are now my private funders. So friends and family members is definitely a great place to source. Number 2 is also in your current workplace, So those of you that have got jobs and you've got work colleagues, then they are going to be a great place to find some money. And again, you just never know. You never know who you're working with. You never know who you're sitting next to. It's just about having the courage to start an open and honest conversation and say, hey John, I know we've been working together for quite some time now. I don't know if you're aware, I'm actually a property investor and I actually work with private funders. Have you ever thought about getting your money working for you? Have you ever thought about getting into property? And just see where the conversation takes you. Now, the third place, and this is really, really powerful, is on social media. Yes, social media is massive. Oh my goodness, you have so many different platforms today. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, YouTube. It is endless, and there's always new platforms coming up and coming. Now, 7 years ago, I wasn't on social media, and I said to myself, I'm never going to get on social media. But in my early days, I invested £25,000 into property training, property mentoring, and my mentor, who's still my mentor today, is one of the biggest UK influencers. And we're actually in competition now because I also run the UK's premier property business and wealth training company. And if you want to access some free training, hey, just click the link in the comments and you'll be able to access more free training via my website. And you know, what's great about property, it's about collaborating. And my mentor said, look, Liam, I think you should get online, start telling people who you are and what you do. And maybe you can relate to this. I was pretty scared of getting on social media. I was worried about what other people were going to think of me. I was worried about being judged, not being good enough, worried about being trolled. But you know what? I just started to post my journey, what I was doing, the ups, the downs, the photos, the journey, and it literally changed my life. People started to like what I was doing. People started to find what I was doing a lot of value. I started to build a lot of rapport with people. And hey, look, the great thing about social media, it is free. And you can get your message out to the masses very, very quickly. And the way we build relationships today is very different to say 5 or 10, 15, 20 years ago. Before, the only sort of advertising you could do was billboards, radio, newspaper, and it was very expensive and only really available to the big corporates. Now, you can become your own media and production company just by posting on a regular basis. And one of my biggest investors at the time came from social media. And he's called Phil and his wife is called Karen, and they're now my business partners for the last 6.5 years. They were watching my stuff, made the approach, and literally a couple of weeks later, I'd raised £750,000. £750,000. And what's great about raising money is that you can recycle it. So when you pay them back, guess what they're going to want to do? They're going to want to give it back to you. And then you can use it for the second deal, the third deal, the fourth deal, and the fifth deal. So get yourself on social media. The next place that is really good to find money are local social clubs. You know, that's where I met Dave when I met him for the first time, his local social club. So social clubs are a good source of investors. Number 5, we have charity events. So charity events, we run our own charity events, but I typically will go out to charity events a couple of times a year. You can run your own charity event and invite people to something. It's a great way to raise money. Number 7, you can also tap into your power team. So when you start to build a power team, let's say your bookkeeper, your accountant, your tax advisor, your architect, your solicitors, let them know that you work with private funders. Neil and Jackie Dobson, 2 of my inner circle members, people that I mentor in property, they found their first investor via their accountant. And this is a great tip. You go to a power team member, like your accountant, and you say, hey Dave, you're obviously good with numbers, you're a smart guy. I've got this property deal on the table. Would it be okay if you have a look at it and give me your feedback? And then you present this property investment into say 3 or 4 pages on a PDF, the bottom line numbers, the location, the amenities, the demand, a few nice photos. Present that to someone in your power team and they'll look at it and you've got a good chance of them saying, hey, you know what, this is a great deal. Is there any way I can invest into this? And that's how Neil and Jackie Dobson, they raised £100,000 from their accountant 2.5 years ago, and the accountant is still their investor today. Another thing you can do is get yourself booked into lots of networking events. So you have property networking events, you have business networking events. You can just go onto Google and type in property network events in Chelmsford, for example. And I found money at my local networking event. And my local networking event back in the day was at Great Baddow Pontlands Park Hotel. And I went to this networking event a couple of times and I thought, you know what I want to do? I want to go one step bigger. So I spoke to Andy, who's a fantastic South African guy. I said, Andy, is it okay if I sponsored the event for 12 months? He said, that's a good idea. I said, how much do you want? He said, you know what, give me 600 quid. So I gave him 600 quid and I sponsored the event. But in return, I got my logo on the emails. I got my logo in the branding. I was able to put banners up at the front of the stage. And I was able to negotiate a 5 to 10 minute speaking slot at the start of each networking event. Well, you can imagine it wasn't long before that networking event was mine, and it was great because I met loads of great people, had loads of great coffees, and through that process, I was able to find more money. Now, you might not have thought about this one, but this is number 9. And a great place to find money is just in your phone book. Yes, in your phone book. There will be people in your phone book right now that have got access to a lot of money. And I'll talk you through what happened to me a number of years ago. We needed money for a property deal and I secured the money. And literally, oh my goodness, at the time I thought it was a disaster, but literally at the 11th hour, my investor pulled out and I needed £60,000. And I had the money in our business to use, but my whole thing is no money down deals, right? I want to use other people's money to build a property business. So I got my phone book. I started with I made 17 phone calls. 14 people literally said, F off. Not quite F off, but they weren't interested. I got myself in front of 3 people in a pitching situation, and within 48 hours, I got the £60,000 needed. Yes, you need some courage. Yes, you need some balls, but hey, you know what? To get something different, you got to do something different, and it's all about going out your comfort zone. That's how you get success. So don't forget your phone book. And this is a great place to find other people's money, actually in your own business. Because your own business, if it's a limited company, for example, is its own entity. So you can use your other structures to become the investor into your future property deals. So I've got a number of businesses now that do extremely well. We're a 7, if not 8 figure a year business, multiple businesses, multiple income streams. And what I do is I use the revenue generated in my other companies to then become the investor into my property companies. But here's the thing, there's more money out there today than ever before. It's easier to raise money. I personally feel it's easier to find the money than it is to find the deal. Some deals you just need a few £1,000s. Other deals you might need a few £100,000. Really, I don't worry about how much money a deal is going to be needed for investor money, because if I can raise 1,000, I can raise 10,000. If I can raise 10,000, I can raise 1,000,000. And get yourself out there. Get yourself in front of people, build your confidence, get yourself set up correctly. And that's one of the really important reasons why it's important to get trained. You know, I now own the UK's premier property business and wealth training company. We have 7 different verticals across the portfolio, teaching people anything from sales, public speaking, business and marketing, social media, leadership training. We cover different property verticals. So stay tuned for more of my videos. I really hope you found this useful, because look, if I can do it, you can do it. So remember, if you are new to this channel, smash the subscribe button right now and hit the notification bell, because I release videos every single week. Feel free to leave me a question or comment below and I will personally answer it for you. And I look forward to seeing you in one of my next videos. Take care, and I'll see you on the other side.